We love horror movies because they are not for wimpy people. Nothing makes the heart race like 2 hours of jump scares, spine-tingling cries, and incredibly scary characters. If you are a horror movie freak looking for the best horror movies to watch in 2023, this video is for you. This video will reveal the best horror movies of 2023 that you would love to watch. Make sure to watch until the end. Let's begin. Number 1. Megan. If you like the Child's Play films or that spooky Black Mirror episode with Miley Cyrus and the doll, this film is for you. What transpires when a robot doll becomes a young girl's new best friend? Nothing positive. The robot doll quickly went viral on social media because of the creepy way she moved and danced. It was not a good idea at all to make a doll with AI features just to befriend a young girl. Megan will triumphantly return to the big screen in 2025 after a successful run at the box office. Have you heard of this movie before? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 2. Sick. Early in the COVID-19 epidemic, two friends choose to quarantine at a remote lake cottage. Unfortunately, they're not alone and quickly discover that a nasty person is following them. This film's screenplay was co-written by Caitlin Grabb and Kevin Williamson, aka the author of Scream. The Society, a soon-to-be-canceled Netflix series, starred Gideon Adlon as Becca. Number 3. Infinity Pool. In this horror film, a wealthy couple is on an extravagant island vacation when strange things happen, like bizarre clones and hideous animal masks. Following the release of 2022's X and Pearl, Mia Goth is poised to become quite the scream queen paired with Alexander Skarsgård of Big Little Lies fame. A beautiful and mysterious woman leads a couple on vacation away from the resort. They end up in a violent, hedonistic, and horrifyingly horrible society. Following a fatal event, they are soon faced with a zero-tolerance policy for a crime. Either you will be put to death, or, if you are wealthy enough to do so, you can choose to watch yourself die. Number 4. Scream 6. In the most recent Scream movie, sisters Sam and Tara flee to New York City to begin a new chapter. The ghost-faced killer, however, inevitably follows. Unlike the masked killers you've met, this one seems to hunt his victims more cruelly. 4 people who survived the ghost-faced murder moved to New York City to start over. Yet, as a new murderer starts his violent rampage, they quickly find themselves in a battle for their lives. Number 5. RENFIELD. Remember when pictures of Nicolas Cage wandering around New Orleans in a Dracula costume caused the entire internet to go crazy? It was for this movie, I suppose. RENFIELD is Dracula's sidekick. If you haven't seen Bram Stoker's 1931 Universal classic or read the author's original Dracula story. In the horror comedy RENFIELD, Nicholas Hoult plays RENFIELD, who quits his job working for Dracula after falling in love with Rebecca Quincy, a traffic cop. RENFIELD is the focus of this Dracula remake as he tries to put his grisly life of serving his employer behind him. Number 6. The Exorcist. 50 years after the first movie in the Exorcist series came out, a new one is coming out. According to Bloody Disgusting, this particular movie will be a direct sequel to the 1973 classic. A demon controls a 12-year-old girl, and her mother is desperate to find someone who has been through something similar. One of the most popular horror movies of all time, this story about an exorcism is partly based on real events. When little Regan starts acting strangely, like levitating and speaking in tongues, her worried mother goes to a doctor but gets nowhere. Yet a local priest believes the girl might be under the devil's control. When the priest asks for an exorcism to be done, The church sends an expert to help with the hard job. Number 7. The Haunted Mansion. This film is excellent for those who enjoy the occasional scare but aren't huge horror fans. It draws its inspiration from the eponymous vintage ride at Disney parks. The movie's main plot, which takes place in New Orleans, is about a single mother and her son who buy a cheap mansion and find out it is haunted. This film seems to have nothing to do with the Eddie Murphy-led Disney film, The Haunted Mansion, from 2003. But you can watch that movie right now on Disney Plus if you want to get into the Halloween mood early. Number 8. The Boogeyman. The Boogeyman is based on Stephen King's short story of the same name and centers on two brothers still in shock over their mother's passing. But when a bad force comes into their lives, they beg their upset father to care for them before something terrible happens. The moment the dad notices all the closet doors opening by a crack is the story's defining event. The father ultimately sees the boogeyman in the nursery where the last baby perished. The boogeyman doesn't really have a resolution. The boogeyman holds the doctor's mask as the scene concludes. Number 9. Evil Dead Rise. This film, the fifth in the Evil Dead series, is about two separated sisters whose reunion is ruined by having to fight evil creatures known as Deadites. An old book gives birth to wild demons that run amok in an apartment complex in Los Angeles, putting a woman in a fight for her life. The new Evil Dead teaser reveals the reason for the recent Deadite outbreak. As was expected, the Necronomicon, a cursed book made from human skin and written with human blood, is to blame. Mia Allen, a new main character and a brave final girl, added to my surprise and joy. Mia is a young woman trying to get over her heroin addiction with the help of her friends and brother. We meet her as she goes cold turkey at their cabin in the woods. Number 10. The Pope's Exorcist. A movie about a real-life exorcist case seems scary because getting rid of demons is unpleasant. In this movie, Russell Crowe plays Father Gabriel Amorth, the top exorcist for the Vatican, who carried out over 100,000 exorcisms in his lifetime. The portrayal of Father Gabriel Amorth, a priest who serves as the Vatican's chief exorcist in real life, in two autobiographies, An Exorcist Tells His Tale and An Exorcist Additional Accounts, Amorth wrote about his fights with Satan and the demons that had possessed bad people. Number 11. Beau is Afraid. If you enjoy elevated horror, also referred to as frightening but with sophisticated emotional and thematic foundations, as Jenna Ortega's character says at the beginning of Scream, this movie is for you. Ari Aster, who wrote and directed Midsommar and Hereditary, has made a new movie about a rich businesswoman with a lot of trouble with her kids. How might a situation like that make for a scary movie? Number 12. Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey. In this slasher film about the residents of the 100-acre wood, Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet are not your friends. When Christopher Robin leaves their childhood friends to go to college, they feel alone and quickly become violent. When Christopher eventually returns to the forest to meet his old pals and introduce them to his new bride, their rampage reaches a new peak. So, which of these movies would you love to watch in 2023? Do let us know your thoughts in the comments below.